Hi friends, welcome to Rita's Paper Motif. Today I want to share with you a folio I made using the some of the supplies in the January 2026 paper pumpkin. If this is something you're interested in, then stick with me to the end. And I'd also like to introduce myself to any of you that might be new. I'm Rita, and I like to create card and scrapbook page designs as well as 3D projects. I share them with you in hopes that it will inspire you to create and to share with those that matter in your life. Now you can find all the supplies that I use to create different projects at thepapermotif.com. You could also subscribe to the Paper Pumpkin there, as well as you can flip through the virtual current catalogs there. All right, you can also follow me here on YouTube. And I'd like you to please consider subscribing to the channel. And then if you hit that notification icon, you'll be notified of upcoming content. You can also follow me on Facebook at Rita's Paper Motif. And there you can get in on a lot of what goes on at the Paper Motif. All right, so let's just get going. So the paper pumpkin may be new to some of you. To some of you, you may have watched videos before. The intent of this video is to share with you all of the different ways that you can use the contents of the paper pumpkin. Now, the paper pumpkin is a kit that you can get by subscription only. So that means that you need to subscribe to it. And once you subscribe to it for whatever period of time that you want to, then the end of that month, you'll receive in the mail a paper pumpkin. So it's an all-inclusive kit, and all of the supplies that you need to create the intended projects are in this box. So let's just kind of look at, now I've already opened the box. I've already used a lot of the supplies, but I just wanted to go through what was in here and just share a little bit. So if you're kind of on the fence about whether you want to subscribe or not, hopefully this will help you to decide. So in each box, you get all the supplies, like I just said. You also get directions for intended projects. So these are the intended projects. It's 3 different cards and 3 different designs. So 9 cards total. And everything that you need to make these 9 cards, including the envelopes, are in the box. Now these instructions are in visual form, so it doesn't matter what language you speak, you'll be able to follow along. And on the back, you will see the contents of the kit. So in my kit, in all the kits, we had all the envelopes, we had the ephemera. So there were 3 sheets of these little punch-out ephemera pieces, and I'll show you. So this is what I'm talking about. So they look like stamps, and you get the directions to show you how to arrange them on the card to create that card front. And also there were punch outs for these flowers and foliage that you can use to create a card, and then also all the layers. So there's a layer that's already imprinted with flowers, and then there's some foil here that is used as a layer on the card as well. And you get the ink spot, which is great because this is Poppy Parade and it's a 1x1 cube. So you can collect these as you receive your subscriptions. The color that's in the color of the ink that's in the kit will depend on the theme, of course, and so there are a variety of colors, but it's a nice way to collect the colors. I usually will use my bigger pad just because it has a bigger area to stamp from to get the ink. But you definitely can collect these, and if you're just starting out, this is a great way to build up your inventory. You also get tear and tape, and I love the tear and tape. It has so many uses. This is double-sided tape, and I definitely use it for my 3D projects. But this comes in the kit too, so this would help you adhere those card fronts and also those little ephemera pieces. You also will get in your kit these dimensionals, and I usually will use my other dimensionals that I've already started first, and I use them clear down to the very end. But these are always nice because if you're subscribing to the Paper Pumpkin, maybe you don't have a lot of craft space, maybe you travel a lot and you like to craft on the go, or maybe you're not sure, you just want to kind of test out the waters, then this is a way to use these different products to find out what works for you as you craft. So you'll get this also in the kit, and you'll see that there's a stamp set, and the stamp sets come on this acrylic sheet with a little bit of it's a cover too, it's a plastic cover. It's not as thick as this acrylic, but all of these stamps you can use to create your cards, and you've got the ink, so you're set to do that. Now I really I save these, so you also get a printout of what each of the stamps would say on the front, or the image that you would get once you ink it up. So I just take these and put it in that printout that I'm sent, and then I stick it in a Avery L envelope, and I put it in my stamp collection, and so that I can use these anytime. Doesn't have to be just with a kit, because you always can use a sentiment that says just for you, or you brighten my day, or you can put just for you on the outside of the card, and you brighten my day on the inside, or whatever. But obviously these stamps are intended to create the idea of a Valentine that's mailed, right? So it's got a postage vibe to it. But you get these in the kit, and also if it's your first kit and it requires stamping, then you're going to get an acrylic block. They're not our organic acrylic blocks, but they're definitely good to use. So there you go. So one Paper Pumpkin can start you off in your crafting journey. So you get this as well. So let's see, is there anything I've forgotten? No, I don't think so. But you also will get the coordinating colors. And so the coordinating colors are Blueberry Bushel, Bubble Bath, Darling Duckling, Garden Green, Mossy Meadow, and Poppy Parade. Now this ink is Poppy Parade. So those are all the colors that will coordinate with the contents of this kit. We do have some add-on dies that you can purchase. They don't come with the kit, but they're definitely available. And these are good for 3 months. So there's a die set that's good for January, February, and March, and then a new die set that would be good for April, May, and June. And so they're good for 3 months. I think you get the idea. So this, I'm just showing you what was in the kit. Now I do, when I get my kit, I do make one set of the projects that are intended, and so I'll show them to you now. So here is this one. So this is a layer that's already in the kit, and then it has this little foil layer that goes on top of it, and then of course the rose and the greenery that goes on the bottom of that. So those are layered up, and then this is part of that stamp. So it's like a cancellation stamp. So when you get your mail and it's gone through the postal service, they stamp it or cancel it, and so that's there. And then there's this little circular stamp that says love with a little heart in it, and that's also in the corner. This is Happy Valentine's. You can see that it's here. And that is the only stamp that I would say in this set that's really geared solely for Valentine's Day. So, you know, if you wanted to send this as a Valentine, you could use Happy Valentine. You could also change this up if you want. So that's also a possibility. Now, those little sentiment strips, so they also come, they're also part of the kit, and you just punch them out. You can see this little pink like lines at the top, or you could make it be at the bottom. It's up to you. So that's what was used here, and I used the dimensionals to lift that up, as well as with the rose. Now on the inside it has a slightly smaller card base, but this fits nicely in this A2 size gingham envelope, and that is just so attractive, isn't it? All right, so there's one. Now here is another, let's see here. Here is another card that was created just like the directions say. And so these are those little bits and pieces that look like postage stamps that are all arranged on this pink card layer. So you could see the card base. They're nice and sturdy. And then you just arrange them. I glued them all down. You could use the tear and tape. I used my multi-purpose liquid glue. And then these little, are they forget-me-nots? I don't know what those, I can't remember what those flowers are called, but they look beautiful just stretched on the front of the card. And then you see Just For You. So you could put Just For You, and you could put Happy Valentine's inside, or you could put You Brighten My Day. So you could definitely do that. Let's see, you could also, you see there's a stamp right here over this stamp. Excuse me. It's the cancellation stamp. I didn't put it on this one, but you definitely could do that. And it goes in this blueberry bushel envelope, so it fits nicely in, whoops, fits nicely in here. And there you go, there's that one. And now, this is the third one right here. So this is Bubble Bath, and you can see it's like a gingham on here. And then this is a layer that comes separately. It has that stamp kind of edging on it. And these are already printed. But then we have these little punch-out flowers that come in the kit. And then you just, with your dimensionals, you just layer them on top. And it definitely gives that lift to your card. And then this circular sentiment strip also comes in the card, and you can see there's like some little pink lines here. That's where you can stamp your sentiment. This one says Sending Love, and so that's that. And then on the inside you can stamp your message or decorate however you want, and that comes in this beautiful pink envelope. So those are the cards that are created just like the directions state, but here's one that I made using the contents too, because I like to deviate from these directions and bring in product from my craft space, and also to extend it. So where you would get 9 cards here, I usually can get at least double that, but it does depend on how I use my supplies. So here's another way. I cut up one of those envelopes, and I used those beautiful blue flowers. They're propped up on dimensionals. And I don't have the sentiment yet. I haven't decided what sentiment I want to use. But I used, so when I cut up the envelope, when you have an envelope, and you cut it, you lay this on your trimmer, right? And so you just barely cut a sliver here, so in here, so it opens up. But you already have these fold lines. So sometimes, well, if you cut this, say you're just using this part, this is going to be bigger than a card front than maybe you want, just a tad bit. Like this one, I cut this into 3 3/4. Oh no, it's 4. I'm sorry, 4 by 5 1/4. And so there was a little bit of this right here where the fold is. So if I cut along this line right here, I have a perfect size layer, and then I have a little bit that I can use to decorate the inside. Now I did mess up on this card, and I had it turned this way when I went to put what I intended to put on the bottom. So I just left it. But that's just another idea that I used. Here's another idea. I took that card front, instead of putting it on a smaller card base, I put it on a regular A2 size card base out of the basic white. And just to make it a little different, I'm going to put some jewels on it, some bling on it, and maybe even a little bit of a ribbon. And so that's just to decorate it up, and then that will be ready. So I did the same thing, just another one just like that. So those are the cards I made following the instructions and also some deviations. But I had some stuff left over, and I really wanted to make a folio. So folios, if you look on the playlist, you'll see the video number 1 that shows you how I made the folio. And so this is a folio. So basically what it is it's a smaller version of a scrapbook. And this is the base. And you know, once you make them, you can do all kinds of things with them. You can put waterfalls in them. You can put pockets. You can just do anything you want with them. And then they become like mini scrapbooks. Well, I hadn't made one that was exactly the size that I would need for these different layers that come in the paper pumpkin. So usually if I do a scrapbook page, or I do something like that, then the layers usually, they don't always fit, is what I'm trying to say. So this is an A2 size, so it's 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. So if I were going to do a scrapbook page, and I've done them before, I would have to use it this way maybe, or cut it up. So trying to use it so that it would be a layer in a folio, I had to create a smaller base, which is fine because I like to do these. These are great for, I like to create them and send them to my great niece and nephew because they'll redecorate them, or mom will take pictures of them depending on what's going on in their life, and maybe send it to the grandparents, and they'll color pictures, make pictures, put them in them, and send them to the grandparents. So, you know, I'm a grandparent, and that's the kind of stuff you cannot get too much of. So it's a great idea for them, but also if you're going to send it just to maybe your a sibling or something, and you just want to share kind of what's going on in your life. I just am a firm believer that sharing pictures and sharing cards with those that matter in your life is a great way to say, I love you and I'm thinking about you. So, and it's a great thing for them as well. So, you know, I wish I had more pictures of my mother and father and my grandparents. I just really wish I did. So this is something that I think, you know, it's how we leave our legacy, I think. So anyway, so this is just a different, I call this an A2 size because it is kind of the same size as an A2 card. All right, so video number 1 will show you how to make this. But what I wanted to show you today in this video is just how I decorated one of those A2 size folios and just made it different. So my whole idea was to make the front look like a letter, right? Because that's the vibe of the stamp set. So I went ahead and decorated this with this part right here with one of the layers that came in the paper pumpkin. It's the layer that you would use right here for this card. And so I went ahead and I used my perennial postage. Now these dies are no longer available, but there are the textured note dies that I believe are still available. And if not, you know, if you have pinking shears, you can cut that. But you don't even really have to cut it like that if you don't want. You know, just even a square layer would work fine. And then I did take, so this is the first size of the bigger size right here of the perennial postage, and then I took this smaller one and created this. So this would be like where you address your envelope, right? And then I took this part and I took one of these envelopes. So if you have an envelope, This is not the same color, but oh, here's the same color. So if you take one of these envelopes, remember I told you you can cut them. And if you cut that envelope right here where it folds, just cut it where it folds, then you can put that like right here on the edge, right? Go ahead and just glue this part. This is all you're going to cut. You're going to glue it right here. And then if you take the inside, so I took the inside, and I put some paper from a different designer series pack. This is from the Endless Love designer series paper. It would need to be longer, obviously. And you just glue it right here, right up to that fold line. Then that's going to just reinforce this. And then once they're glued, then you're going to take your scissors and you're just going to cut right here along the edge. Just give it a little bit of a margin. It doesn't have to be very much at all. You can see mine has some right there. And then you can also kind of trim the sides so that you have that envelope look. And so that's what I did with that. And then I wanted that to look like the flap on an envelope, right? And so I took one of those pieces that comes in the ephemera pack, you know, some of these. So here it is right here. So that's already done for you, and I just used that as a stamp right up here. And then I used that stamp from the stamp set. I used that one that looks like the cancellation. And, oh yeah, this one right here. And I used my Poppy Parade, and I did just do that. Now my stamp did kind of move, so it kind of gave it that little look, but my great niece and nephew won't mind. So you could also just stamp this ahead of time before you glue it on here, so that you know, maybe it's easier. And then I did take one of those circular sentiment strips, and I just turned it over, and then I just stamped the stamp, that love stamp on there, and just put it down here. So that's what I did with that to give it that look. And then I have these old gems. Now these are way back from a celebration event. So we don't, this year we didn't have celebration. What we had was a product of the month. So how that works is, if you make a qualifying purchase, then for so if you make a qualifying purchase is $75, that's before any coupons, before taxes, before shipping. Then for $5 more, you can add whatever the product of the month is. So that could be this. In January, it was a stamp set. In December, it was some designer series paper. So product of the month has taken over for our celebration for this year. And that's how I got these, and I've had them for over a year. So I wanted to use them up, and so that's what I used here. But since we don't have these anymore, here's a great solution, and that is, these are the Easter assortment. And so, you know, those would go nicely on here. These are kind of egg-shaped, but it's that gingham. So they're definitely, let's just open it. It probably has a third color that's covered by that flap. So let's see here. I haven't put away all my stuff. Oh, so they're yellow. So, so that would be cute. Any of those colors would be great. So you definitely have that option. We have a variety of gems in our catalog, so feel free to look those over. All right, so my closure, when you make your folios, you can use ribbon, there's just a whole variety of items that you can use to close your folio. I chose to use these Velcro dots, and I get those from Amazon. So they're just, this is the fuzzy part, and then the gritty part, they come in like on these acrylic sheets, and then you can just use them. I like these because I used to use these ones that came differently, and they were so tough that when you went to open your card, it was like it was very tough, hard to open them. I did want to just add this. I just put this on the bottom. So here is that little row of stamps, and I just put that on there as well. All right, let's look on the inside of my folio. So, you know, here is that one page that would be the inside here. And what I did was I wanted to create a pocket. But I knew I didn't want it sitting flat on the white because, you know, that I just wanted color. And so I looked to see maybe what I had in my stash. And I have still a lot of these. It's Make a Memory. It's a scrapbook workshop kit. And these are great because you get all of the ephemera. You get, you know, these strips come in it. The word, the verbs, the sentiments is what I meant. And you get a bunch of punch outs. But also in this kit, this particular kit for sure. So here's the Make a Memory scrapbooking workshop kit. You also get all of these. I'm trying to get them, sorry. You get these cards that come in this size. Here it is. They've fallen out. I am so sorry. They've fallen out. Anyway, it has a bunch of cards in here like this size. And so this happened to be one of them. So I thought, you know what, that one works fine for what I want. So I just grabbed it and cut it down. I did have to cut it down. And then I like this on top of it. Now this is part of that envelope, right? So you could see how that would work out, right? So I just cut the envelope, unfolded it, and then you can see this is just that part. Now, if you want that edging, I did get that edging because I used my basic borders, but these are, again, these are not available in our catalog at the moment. So if you don't have a border, know that that's not a problem because your envelope is already formatted that way. So really all you have to do is cut it down so that it fits on there. Now this becomes a pocket, and what I'm going to do with that is I'm going to put in a gift card. Now it won't be this gift card because first of all, my great niece and nephew don't have a choice. They're Bronco fans. It's in their DNA. So this, anyway, this wouldn't be appropriate. I'm just showing you as an example, but you could put any gift card there you want. If you don't want to do gift cards, you could put a piece of candy. I mean, like a little candy bar if you want to do that. So you could definitely do that. Or just a gift card that's appropriate to them, or even you could just put a tag. So kids like tags too. Well, at least my great niece and nephew do because they color on them, they glue on them, they do all kinds of stuff on it. And then it just would sit right in here in this pocket. And then I used the flowers just to decorate. And then this is another piece of that Endless Love Designer Series paper that is in the, it's like a Valentine's collection. So I just used that, and I used my perennial postage dies to give it that edging. So you can see that that edging matches this. Again, those textured dies would give it a same kind of a feel. So if you have those are definitely something you could use. Now I did write photo on here because my niece can take a picture of them. This is a 3x2, I believe. But if you have those little sprockets, I have an HP sprocket. So if I take a picture, I just like can send it to the sprocket and it prints out a picture that would fit right here. So they're like little sticker pictures, and they're great. Or the kids can draw a picture, or they can glue on Valentine's or whatever they want. And then I just did take some of the, I took this stamp, and I'll tell you, I want to show you some of my experimentation with that. And that is I did experiment. I stamped the Poppy Parade on some pink. I didn't like the way that looked. It would be fine. It just didn't get my eye. And then this is light and dark poppy parade, and then of course the mossy meadow for the leaves. And that was another thing with this. I didn't think the green would look too good on that pink. And then I just did some blue also. So I stamped this stamp with my memento. So these two are the memento black. I stamped them, and then this one actually is a colored pencil that I used to color it, so I like that. You could make it even watercolory if you wanted to. So I just put those on with dimensionals right here so that you could still slip a photo underneath, right? And then I did, when I was cutting things and trying to figure out what I wanted to do, I did go ahead and cut some green foliage, and I really love this punch that I've kept around for a long time. This is the bow punch. It's also no longer available, but there are numerous dies that we have that would create the same sort of thing, like a leafy thing. The only thing is I found that I didn't really need it. But if you wanted to, that would look good too. And then you can, you know, kind of offset that a little bit with the white. So, you know, if you want to layer it up, there's definitely that option, right? You could also just use this leave white. That would work too. Or you could use these up if you wanted to. I didn't want to use these. I'll show you where I did use them though. So that is like, so front, first page, second page. And then this is that whole layer that came in the kit. And this is a side pocket that you can put things in. Now I glued it all the way down, not realizing that I wasn't thinking when I glued it, but you could leave it open and use it as a pocket. And then since I did glue it down and it would just tear it to take it apart, I just put a tag on here, and I have this, this is part of a card. This is one of the card bases. And I've used those all up, so I don't have one to show you. But, and I just cut that. This is a 2x3, and then I cut one of those sentiment strips. So this is the one that had that just for you on it. Let me show you. And so it's pink on one side. I just turned it over. I glued it on here and then trimmed it so it looked like a tag. And this could be for journaling. They could put anything on here they want. They could, you know, do on the back. Oh, so this is, I'm sorry, I told you this was cardstock, I think, or part of a card. This is part of an envelope. And then I did put some of that bling on here. And also this background is also from that scrapbooking workshop kit. So I just pulled those in. Now look at these ribbons. Are they like beautiful? So this pink ribbon is called the Bubble Bath ribbon. It's very narrow. It's light, and it's perfect for, I like it for those little bows that you don't need, you know, the ribbon in your face kind of thing. But I really like how that works with that. And this ribbon is brand new. I can't wait to show you some of the Easter things, because all of those items in that collection are absolutely gorgeous. So this is the gingham ribbon that comes in that Easter collection. This is actually balmy blue, but it's beautiful, and I think it goes just fine on here. So I just did that, and then this is another place for a photo, or you know, whatever they want to do. If I were sending it to my sister, I would definitely put a photo because she likes those photos. I would put something here, probably a little saying that we as kids had, maybe I would put on there just to kind of bring it all home, right? So if it were for my sister, which I am going to make her one, would be a little bit different. I would probably keep this part, keep this part. I would just be a little more specific, and I could do a few more things that are not just kind of so general. But this is another one of those stamp ephemera that was in the kit. And this is one of the card bases. So then I did also just put this on the back so that it wasn't plain white. I didn't really decorate it because I'm thinking that, well, I just didn't think it needed it. But there is that little Valentine's folio, so I like it looking at it this way. And so I just wanted to share with you how I took that basic folio that you'll see in a video number 1, and I turned it into a Valentine's themed, postage themed folio. And I'm just showing you what I did, but you can change it around and make it your own, and I'm sure it's going to be beautiful. And also remember that this all started from this paper pumpkin, which is, this one in particular is not available in its entirety because it is a subscription. You could, once you subscribed, go back and get a refill, but you won't get the stamp set. So there are going to be many beautiful more beautiful, sorry, whoa, is that backwards or what? There's going to be many more beautiful paper pumpkins coming up. So don't miss yours, and go ahead and subscribe and join the fun. So thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe or follow, and you have a good weekend. Thank you. Bye.